Tonight we're going in depth on spanking in schools, the term used for the policy known as corporal punishment. That's what's in place. Last week, the Oklahoma State Senate voted to ban the practice of corporal punishment on special needs students in Oklahoma public schools, and now it heads to the State House, where last year it was also caught up in a contentious debate. For the second year in a row, state lawmakers are once again debating on whether spanking special needs children in Oklahoma public schools should continue.
I have never, ever met a parent of a disabled child call for the beating of their child to make them better.
The law currently allows local districts to set their own policies of corporal punishment for all students, but under Senate Bill 364, no child with a disability that is also on an IEP can be physically punished through paddling, spanking, or slapping. Tulsa Republican Senator Dave Rader says some of the children in Oklahoma public schools do not understand why they're being hit and do not process it as punishment. Doing so does not yield positive results.
Not all discipline has to be one way. And to deal with special needs takes special discipline.
Opponents of the bill cited Bible verses saying God demands spanking to correct a child.
And I will tell you, this no corporal punishment initiative is not in the interest of children or civilized society. It was popularized back when I was a child by Dr. Benjamin Spock, who was not a parent, but he wrote a book about the evils of discipline.
Others argued since districts ask parents their feelings about spanking at enrollment, the parents are aware of the possibilities of punishment their child can face, even if they have special needs. They also said the fears of someone hitting too hard is by law child abuse, and people have already been prosecuted.
The paddling and the spanking, those are long accepted methods of corporal punishment when they're applied within the proper guidelines and with the proper degree. Like anything, if you overuse it, then it's destructive. It's not constructive.
Rader and supporters say nothing in the bill prevents a parent from punishing their own child at home. The bill passed 31-16 with bipartisan support. So how many states actually spank at all? We're not alone in still having this practice in place. According to the National Institutes of Health, 19 states as of this year still allow corporal punishment in their public schools. Usually there is no statewide policy. Things are left up to local districts for the most part on when and how it is performed. 4 states, Illinois, Iowa, New York, and Maryland, actually also have laws in place prohibiting spanking in private and religious schools, not just their public schools. There are actual statistics out there about spanking and paddling of special needs students and disabled students. When you mix in data from civil rights groups, health research groups, and others, special needs students are twice as likely to face corporal punishment than students who are not disabled or are considered special needs. Sometimes the student is punished not for bad behavior, but for behavior linked to their disability. The biggest example given is students with Tourette's may say or do something that looks bad but is actually out of their control. Students with autism have also been punished for constant body movement, like rocking, instead of sitting still. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled on this issue back in 1977, and that ruling has stayed in place ever since. In the case Ingram versus Wright, the court was asked to determine if corporal punishment violated the 8th Amendment, which is the one prohibiting cruel and unusual punishment. In addition, they were also asked to determine if a student needed a due process hearing before the spanking was administered. In a 5-4 vote, the court ruled the Florida school district that was sued by a family was fined to spank and no hearing was needed. One recent and horrific case of abuse cited during this debate in the state Senate happened down in Hugo, and it's a small town near Lake Texoma near the state line.
My child is very nonverbal and very delayed, and he does not have the mindset to understand he's being done wrong. I mean, I'm entrusting these teachers to do that, to take care of my child.
That was Shauna Benavidez, whose son Jackson, you also saw pictures of, was physically abused at Hugo Middle School, and he didn't understand why. One teacher had her license suspended, and 4 other employees were investigated by local police. It said they became frustrated with at least 2 special needs students, one being Jackson, who may have had challenges regulating their emotions and behavior, and then the teachers allegedly physically abused them for punishment when they weren't complying with commands. The bill now heads to the Oklahoma House, where last year it actually failed in 1 vote before there was a revote.
I told the author that, number one, I would co-author this with him, but that this would be an easy bill to carry because there's nobody who's going to be for corporal punishment on students with disabilities. I apologize to the author because apparently I was wrong.
That is now Republican House Speaker Pro Tem Anthony Moore, who helped pass the bill in the House last year. He agreed to carry Senator Rader's bill in the House this session primarily because of this man you see here. State Representative John Talley was defeated in the Republican primary last summer, so obviously he can't bring back or defend his bills. We are going to have to wait and see how things play out this year because of many new members also in the House. Senate Bill 364 now heads to the Oklahoma House, where there is expected to be opposition. Not Democrats versus Republicans, but Republicans versus Republicans. It passed last year, but some members who supported it in the House lost re-election or were term limited.